Hello, welcome back to my channel, Retire Abroad Finance. This is Martha, and this is part two of my budgeting series and how we determined that it was best for us to move overseas rather than to retire in Florida. So here we have the comparison of the two budgets, and now I want to show you the software tool that I used to actually calculate these figures. The name of the site is called Numbeo. I will drop the link below. And I find that it is very, very easy to use. It is crowdsourced. And in what I have seen so far in the places that I've been recently, it's reasonably accurate, but you will want to build in some cushion. So let's navigate there now. So I'm going to enter, let's see, well, one of the locations we're going to, Saranda, Albania. Okay? I'm going to compare those two. You don't have to sign up. All right, so the first thing you're going to see is, okay, is it in the US dollar? It is. If it wasn't, you change it right here. Okay. And then it's, like I said, it's crowdsourced. Do you live in Daytona Beach? Add data for Daytona Beach. So, for the most part, when I look at this, it's like I know what to expect for Daytona. The prices are pretty close. So by extrapolation, I'm thinking, okay, yeah, they're probably pretty close for the rest of the world too. People are probably, updating these as we go. There are some things that are behind because I think because inflation has risen so quickly, um, that they may be a little bit low. But let's start out. So what it does is it tells you Daytona Beach meal at an inexpensive restaurant is going to cost you about $20. That is about right. If I go to, let's see, one of our favorite places, Piranha Grill, um, it's a it's actually a biker bar. But it's a nice one. They have just wonderful burgers and either sweet potato fries, onion rings, regular fries. The food is really, really good and inexpensive. Now, we're still going to spend at least $20 for that burger meal. This is not McDonald's. So I mean, even McDonald's is 15, $17. So Piranha Grill, you're going to spend at least 20. And if you tip, it's probably going to be 25. But in any case, that's pretty accurate. So Saranda, $11.93. And so they show you the difference on the right-hand side. So if you just kind of scroll down, you can see that for the most part, it's much less expensive to do these things in Saranda. You've got the price of food at the grocery store, representative food. What you're going to find is you are going to pay more in general for milk, beef, and cheese in most countries. Cheese, maybe not. If you get the local cheeses in Europe, maybe not. But the rest of the world really doesn't drink cow's milk like we do. They just don't. It's very foreign to them. They're like, why would you do that? You're not a baby anymore. So their milk product really is kind of specialized, if you will. Um, in Thailand, coconut milk. Just go get it's so cheap, you know. So anyway, but you can see the prices in Saranda for the most part, outside of the items that I listed, are going to be much less expensive in the store. Okay. Transportation, your public transportation is less, monthly bus pass is less. Um, the price for a taxi that waits for you for an hour in between, less. I think that's what that means, 1 hour waiting. Gasoline is a lot more. Gasoline's a lot more, but their public transportation system's so developed that you're probably not renting a whole lot of cars unless you're going to be going from location to location, doing more traveling than we're doing. Utilities, much less. Um, let's see. Okay, here's what we want, rent. So here, Daytona, 1 bedroom apartment in the center of Daytona Beach, 1429. I tell you that's low. That's low, or that's something in a place that I would not want to rent. Um, Saranda, 875. That's actually high. If you're doing a 1 year lease in Saranda, that's high. I have a beautiful 1 bedroom Airbnb that I rented for us, and it came to 700 and something. And we are right near the water. We have a beautiful view of the beach. So I think we're like a block back from the water. It's just gorgeous, but it's a very modern apartment, very clean. It's a beautiful apartment. So if you're doing a 1 year lease, you're going to get a much better deal than 875. But so if you look, there's a market difference between the two rents. It's much cheaper. Okay. Now, why is this? Well, right here. This is where I go to with every country that I'm looking up is I look up the average monthly net salary. Okay. So if you are an Albanian citizen living in Saranda, the average monthly salary after tax is $773.89. So you have to be able to live on that in Albania. Okay? You have to be able to live on that. That they can't have, you can't have a situation where to live in Albania, you have to have $2,000 a month, but your average couple together only makes 1,400. The poverty would be unbelievable. It's crazy. So if they're living there on this amount, I should be able to live there on $4,000 a month. I'm just saying. I'm not going to have all the secrets that they would have. This is where you go for the best deals on meat. This is where you go for the best deals on, you know, this, that, and the other thing. And, I'm not going to have all that information that they have, but I can still benefit from paying a lower rent and my food costs go down and I don't have to buy a car and I don't have to pay all these insurances. So, that's how I do it. So I can go to virtually any city in the world. If I just want to see that information and I don't want to try to do a comparison, I can go to virtually any city in the world. So let's go to, let me think, let's go to Hanoi, Vietnam. Okay. And first of all, it's going to show you in Vietnamese dong, don't have a heart attack. You're going to switch that to US dollars. Okay. So now you go down and you can see a meal at an inexpensive restaurant, $1.91. They are not kidding. You can get a banh mi for $1. It's crazy. If you have a nice three-course meal, two people, $26. Okay. We're going to scroll all the way to the bottom. And you can see that the average net salary in US dollars after tax is $426. So, you know, I don't know if I could spend $4,000 without getting outrageous. I mean, the average one bedroom apartment rent is $339. So, their own people have to be able to live in their country. And this is how I know that I can do this. All right. So let's sprinkle in one of the, well, let's do Malaga. I just was in Malaga this spring. Let's look at them. Again, they revert to euros. Let's switch it to US dollars. Okay. Meal at an inexpensive restaurant, $13.95. I would agree with that. I mean, if you go to the local neighborhood tapas bars, you can eat for less than that, but that's not unreasonable. Meal for two people, mid-range restaurant, three-course, that's about right. If you're going to go out for a real nice three-course meal, this is Europe. Um, that's probably a bit high for McDonald's there because they really, it's not a preferred restaurant, trust me. Um, they have to make it cheap for people to be attracted to it. Um, So the beer that may be right, but I'll tell you that the wine was the house wine could be $1.50 a glass to $2, and it was excellent wine. So we really didn't do a whole lot of beer. My husband wasn't interested in getting the beer when the wine was so good. So anyway, we're just going to scroll down. Okay. You need an average monthly net salary after tax of $1,700 to live in Malaga. This is a beach town in the south of Spain. This is a tourist destination, $1,700. Okay. Um, some of these costs might be a little bit outdated. Just looking at it real quick, I think that you would probably need to spend about $1,500. So that might be a little bit outdated. But let's see, let me just look at this real quick against what I noticed there. Let's see. Yeah, the food was so incredibly inexpensive. It was really, it was really a good deal. Um, Fish was incredibly inexpensive. We found frozen fish, good quality, in the grocery store, in the little local grocery store across from our hotel. It was a kilo for 5.5 euros. So a kilo is 2.2 pounds. Okay. So for roughly about $6 or $7, you got 2 pounds of fish. Good quality local fish. Compare that to your grocery store. Okay. So anyway, that is how I came up with this information between, checking the numbers on Numbeo and then again going out to various communities that I'm part of um, on social media and checking their prices. People share what they pay. They just do. They're trying to help encourage people because if you're doing slow travel, you're doing it because you love it. Because it's not the easiest thing in the world to do. Like anything, it takes effort. Um, but you're doing it because you love it. And so when people love something, they want to evangelize, right? They want to encourage more people. You can do this. You can do this. It's so much fun. And that's exactly what we found. And people have questions. They want to know, how do you think that you can afford this? How do you think that you can travel all over the place for $4,000 a year? Well, because it isn't the US. That's how. Uh, you know, the travel itself is not that expensive. Living in another country, if you pick the right countries, is not that expensive. And in most of these places, I mean, just doing 2 or 3 months in Southeast Asia for a year is enough to free up, um, you know, the remainder of the budget that we didn't spend so that we can go to Ireland for a month. Ireland is unreal. Let me show you if we wanted to go to Dublin for a month. Okay. And keep in mind, these are costs if you live there. Meal for two people, three course, 104. An expensive restaurant, $23 a piece. That may be the case. I've not been to Ireland, so a pint of beer, $8. Cappuccino, almost 5. Let's scroll down to where the real money is going to be. Rent, 2,300 for a one bedroom in a city center, and I bet you that's outdated slightly. Probably not tons. I could probably do an Airbnb in Dublin for a month for, I don't know, 2,600, 3,000. And there you go. Average monthly net salary after tax, 4,000 US dollars. If you remember, Daytona Beach was 3,000. So it's, 125% or 130, excuse me, 133%. This is me mathing again when I'm tired. Anyway, so, it's showing you the monthly expenses, estimated cost for a family for 4,300. I'm a foreigner. I'm not going to be able to get those prices. So, you know, if we're saving money by going to, say, Vietnam or Thailand a couple of months out of the year, we can afford to go to Dublin. Maybe I wouldn't do a whole month. Maybe I would do 2 weeks and then 2 weeks someplace else in an expensive location, maybe Norway or something. But the fact is that you can cycle this in. If you save money in one place, you can use it in another place. So it's really exciting. But anyway, that is exactly how I arrived at our budget and how I knew that Florida really was not going to be an option for us if I wanted to retire early. So I hope that this video was helpful to somebody out there who's, looking at their situation. They want to retire early, but they can't quite seem to get there or wrap their head around how they would be able to do it. Here's some information for you. Take my categories, fill them out for your current situation. Do some work on Numbeo. What's a country you want to go visit? Or maybe you want to get in a year-long visa in a country, and then you can get a contract for a rent, spend much less money. You can do this. You can do this. If this added value, please do like and subscribe and share the video so that other people can also learn about how to budget for this. And, thank you so much for watching my videos. I really appreciate it. I can't tell you enough how much this means that I get to share something that I'm so excited about and that's going to help us. So, thank you again for watching my video, and I hope that you have a wonderful week and God bless.